So Josh, are you joining us from outer space over there?
Well, I take social isolation very seriously. I figure if I'm on the moon, there's very little chance of me catching anything.
Oh, man.
Well, Josh, it's good to see you here. Josh was
Thanks for inviting me, Gina.
You're so welcome. Josh was on our Emerge call last week. For those not familiar with Emerge in Myrtle Beach, it is part of the City of Myrtle Beach's Technology Advisory Group. We have a co-working space that we have money and a location earmarked. We were hoping to open this summer, but that doesn't look like it's happening. I mean, it's going to happen, just not as obviously we have issues. But our Emerge group is a really great group of technology people, entrepreneurs, artists, makers, and investors. And we've got an angel investor series running right now, so we're taking that virtual. So we've taken those monthly meetings virtual. They used to be in-person social networking. So it's another group. So it's kind of cool to try to bring other groups into this call. So it's good to have Josh here. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. We are recording. We have a couple new suspects. Typically what we do on this call, this is a brainstorming, collaboration, sharing, knowledge sharing, connecting. I go around, I have everyone introduce themselves and maybe present one thing. Let's keep the introductions short and quick so we can come back around. Maybe one thing that you are challenged with, or a reason that brought you to this call today that you want to put out there to people that maybe that they can give you some feedback on, and then kind of jump into giving feedback to each other. So typically that's how this runs. I try to keep it at an hour. Sometimes it's funny, the smaller the group, the longer it seems to go. I don't know why that happens, but here to make sure that everybody gets something out of this that they can push forward. I know it's been really beneficial for me, just the little ideas that come up. And Leslie, I want to have a conversation with you because I've my brain's going based on some of the stuff that you've put out there for us. I want to talk to you maybe offline. I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm going to do this Brady Bunch style based on what I'm seeing from my gallery view. So I'm going to start with Cindy to introduce yourself.
I think I know most of you. Cindy Geddick with the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. So glad my schedule got juggled on this Monday so that I could join all of you today. I have been, Gina has been sharing the notes from your meetings, and seems you guys have come up with some really, really cool ideas and ways to assist your business as well as others. I will tell you on the chamber side of things, and hopefully all of you are receiving our daily updates. In lieu of inundating everyone with 100 emails a day, we have opted to send out one communication in the morning, and then with any breaking news, we will send those as needed throughout the day to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information. We are constantly updating our website with as many resources as are at our disposal, and of course at your disposal as well. We have already started working on our Support Local campaign once things start to open back up. And so we are busy on the chamber side working on that, and of course our marketing folks are working on their recovery plans as well to visitors. So everyone's busy just trying to again make sure that you guys have the most up-to-date resources and information, accurate information as we receive, as well as planning for what our new normal is going to be, and how that's going to affect your businesses, especially your small businesses. So that's what we're working on and will continue to work on.
Awesome. Thank you, Cindy. And quick question for those who are not member investors, can people opt in to chamber newsletter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Because the emails, and I know we're all getting a lot of emails right now, but your emails are really great and really comprehensive. And I try to take things out of those and reshare them in this COVID recovery group. So you guys are really on top of that. So if you're not receiving them, I suggest that you hop over to the chamber site, which is myrtlebeachareachamber.com.
Right. And you can also click on at the top, the banner ad that is all the coronavirus updates. And those communications are posted there on a daily basis as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
And then you're going to make a note to talk to Jimmy
I am.
About the differences between the loans. If anybody does have updates on where you stand with financial assistance, you can share that here too. As I've mentioned, I have gotten the PPP loan for one business, and I got the emergency disaster loan for the other business. There's no rhyme or reason to the emergency disaster loan. I think that's what it is. I'm not positive, but money got deposited in our account this morning. Both businesses got money this morning. So I also got an update on I'm going to get a stimulus check. So that's exciting. I don't know about and I can't seem to, it doesn't allow me to put the bank account information in it. That's another glitch in their system. So I'm going to guard the mailbox because I suspect we're going to have mailbox bandits coming out in the next week. I know this from personal experience because I've had my identity stolen. So they started hitting the mailboxes. So if you want to share that, that's good too. I was waiting for, and I don't see her here. We were going to have an HR person joining us today. If she doesn't join, I can provide information to her. She has so graciously offered to help people with their unemployment questions for their employees, specifically on helping you file for them if you haven't, or if you have questions around it. She's got a lot of experience. She's the HR director for Pepsi for Florence area and the PD area. So I can connect you with her. She's really super knowledgeable and has offered to help people for free, which I think is a really cool resource. I'm going to jump over to Chris Tucker. Thank you for putting your name in there because I didn't know what to call you.
Yeah, sorry. That's for our ambassador call normally. My name is Chris Tucker. I'm the general manager for Legends in Concert. Recently, I've been working with unemployment. I'm glad you pointed that out, Gina. I'd like to get in touch with her.
Can we all hear? Can we hear him?
No, we hear you're talking, Chris, but can't hear
Chris,
you.
We can't. You dropped out. We can't hear you, Chris.
Chris.
We can't hear you. No. You dropped out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there
Yes.
you are. Okay.
Oh my gosh. You're all waving at me. I love it.
Yeah, we're like,
It took all of you, by the way, to get to that point.
okay,
so
you dropped out when you said thank you for talking about unemployment.
Oh, yeah. I do need that information. If you can give that to me, that'd be great. The name of the person. I've been working with Pablo with Ripley's Aquarium on getting some standards and best practices for reopening for attractions. So I think he's submitting some information to the city council. I'd be happy to share the list of guidelines to anybody who wants it as far as for attractions. But
yes.
That's what I've been doing.
That would be awesome. I know that's one thing we've talked about what theaters should be doing, and I don't know what theaters should be doing. Maybe Amber and I can come up with some ideas. We're in the same scenario. Myrtle Beach Mall sent out an email that they opened back up today, but I was not allowed to open. So that's what we are open, but you cannot open. So I said,
Really?
Yes, but you want your rent. So my snarky response, for anyone who knows me, was like, yes, I'm aware of the governor's orders, and I may just open up and do something else in the space, which is technically a violation of our lease, but whatever. So yeah, I would love anything you have, Chris, on guidelines that you guys are working on. Theaters are really going to struggle, especially with that. We are a weird hybrid because we're kind of like a restaurant, kind of like an attraction.
Yeah.
Trying to plan a season is we're not even. We're planning a season, but I don't think we're going to sell season tickets this year.
Yeah, I say, what season are you planning?
Yeah, I mean, it's like these are the shows. Well, that's it. I mean, these are shows that we would like to do, but even if they open it back up, my patronage are, 65 and older. Probably 80% of my patronage is over 65. They're not going to want to come and be around people.
And
Right.
and we have small theaters, so
Yeah.
capacity wise, Amber, what's your capacity?
We have 53 seats. I can probably squeeze in like 57. If that's squeezing them in, and that's putting people on an aisle side, so we're not blocking the emergency exit side. But I mean, the only other option then is to maybe only seat 20 people. But then I'm paying rights for shows. And that may be ultimately what we do, just to try to keep the doors open. To seat fewer people so that we can still socially distance, but the actors on stage aren't going to be able to socially distance,
Well, that's part of our problem, right? Yeah. Like the performers can't socially distance. And I don't know if your experience is, Amber or Chris, my performers are like, do we have to come back?
Yeah.
Mine are wanting to come back, but we can choreograph and restage a lot of stuff because we just have singers and then a couple of background dancers. We're able to spread it out, but then
you can make it work a little bit better.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yours is a little bit different.
The only thing Garrett's working on, and this is probably something I should have him really, really hit hard. He's working on a one-man show. So we could do the one-man show and only have you do it for 25 people at a time. I mean, that's an option.
Well, that's actually something that we're considering. I'm considering bringing in a magician.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm considering bringing in different acts that are like 1 and 2 person scenarios.
Yeah. We can do love letters again. Everybody loves. Jay and I do brilliant love letters brilliantly, and we could sit on the opposite parts of the stage, and that's something we could do. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
As long as people would come, that's still not saying.
Well,
people
then there's that, and then there's that. So, Chris, anything you can share, we would highly appreciate.
We would love.
Thank you. Bouncing over to Kathy Redwine. Little dealing and feeling with a little red wine.
Oh yeah.
You know how to unmute yourself, Kathy Redwine.
Yes. Hey, everybody. I'm Kathy Redwine. I am a counselor in private practice in Georgetown. And Gina is the producer of my podcast, Dealing and Feeling, which is helping to talk to young people understand how to better communicate with them. Cindy, I'm actually doing a webinar for Georgetown Chamber tomorrow. And I don't know if you guys have any needs or if you guys are doing anything like that, but I mean, I'd love to be able to help out. My area of specialty is I work with young people, families. I see adults as well, but I think a lot of our families are really struggling right now with children being at home and how to manage being a teacher, the custodian, the cafeteria worker, the mom, everything. So just trying to throw as much support out there as I can for anybody that might need it.
Thank you, Kathy. And that includes all of us. So Kathy is our resident counselor for anybody that needs a little therapy. You can.
And seriously, because if anybody is needing anything, all insurance companies are and this is important for you to know if you currently have someone that you talk to, all the insurance companies are paying us to see people through virtual technology. So it's a huge, huge benefit that they have made. I guess, I think it's until the end of May, and then they'll probably readjust. But
Kathy,
anyway,
is that something new?
no, I mean, it's at least been since the end of March.
Okay, I need to ask my own therapist about that.
Yeah.
before my session tomorrow. It is a serious concern. I think I saw somewhere in another Facebook group a woman who literally posted that she lives alone, she's depressed, she has no family here, she has no one to talk to. Would anybody be willing to talk to her because she needed a friend? And 20 more women chimed in saying they were in the same scenario. So I think there are a lot of us who are at home alone, isolating. So I think it's a really big issue that no one's addressing. And I think, Kathy, you've pointed out that getting counseling is up 891%, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So March of 2020 was up 891% over March of 2019 for crisis center calls. I'm frightened to see what April's going to look like when we get those numbers in.
I think we're just starting to scratch the surface. I think there's going to be some serious need come this weekend, honestly, because as we hit May 1st, I think there were a lot of people that were able to eke by April 1st with bills. And I think May 1st is going to be brutal because there are people still waiting on unemployment, still waiting on stimulus, still waiting on PPP, still waiting on getting their jobs back. So this weekend should be an interesting thing to look at.
So please don't hesitate to give out my name. I'm on Psychology Today, which everybody can find any way to get in contact with me. It has all of my credentials and licenses and that sort of thing on there, and the insurance companies that I'm a provider for. So anyway, I'm just happy to help. As Gina knows, this is my passion and purpose in life, is to help other people through some challenging things. So please don't hesitate.
She checks on me all the time. Check out her podcast at dealingandfeeling.com.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to Sherry Glensky.
I want to start with a PSA. For those of you who have pierced ears and haven't put earrings in, do it. Your ears can put mine in for the first time today. Anyway,
that's a really good PSA. Ruth. I know Josh and Chris are concerned about that.
Awesome, guys. I am a freelance writer, write about restaurants for South Carolina Woman magazine. And from this group and from the Emerge, I got some really great ideas, and I discussed them with the owner, who is, for you, those of you who don't know, Terry Petrie is the publisher owner of South Carolina Woman. Unfortunately, she has been moving over all of her websites over to GoDaddy, and it kind of stopped. So we really don't have a digital presence. Just a bad timing. They said 48 hours. It's been over a week. So, so anyway, I thank you for those ideas. Right now, I write about restaurants, and with them being closed, I'm kind of closed.
Okay, hold on, Sherry. So you guys have no digital presence right now?
Other than the prior magazines, no, because we're not doing the publication for the next issue.
But I mean, is your website down?
I don't think so. I think it's still up, but she's in the middle of I don't understand the technology of it. I know she's doing a migration is what she's doing, and that can take a while to happen, which is really bad timing to do a migration right now. I'm going to continue to encourage you, Sherry, to look outside of the box, outside of restaurants, and write about whatever you can write about. I guess I've been sharing stuff on our Facebook page. If I see, trying to do positive, if I see a restaurant doing something kind of cool, rather than just takeouts I will post, but if they're doing something, I've been sharing that. So trying to keep a little presence, but that's the most I can do right now.
Okay. Let's jump over to Leslie.
Hey, everybody. Leslie Maloney with DBC Radio. We have 5 radio stations in the market: WRNN, Wave 104.1, Energy 92.1, KZQ, Hank. I think that's all of them. Is that 5? We also have a whole digital division where we can help people online, whether it's SEM, SEO, geofencing, targeted display ads, etc. So some things that may be of interest to you guys, and I mentioned this on another call, we have on each one of our websites a banner ad that says open. So if you have or you know of a business that is open and operating, they can actually go on each website for free and list all the information that's pertinent. We are in the process of putting together a virtual job fair. We had a job fair that we were going to do in March at the convention center, and that got canceled, obviously. But we're in the works of putting that together. Of course, it's going to be, it's not going to start until everything really starts opening up a lot more, but that's something that's in the works. Also on each one of our websites, with the graduating high school seniors in the area, my daughter happens to be one of them. They've worked really hard, and chances are they're not going to have the graduation ceremony or they didn't get a prom. They didn't, we all know all this, but there's an opportunity on each one of our websites to actually enter information about your graduating senior, post a picture, to just kind of pay tribute to them. My biggest challenge right now is I'm in advertising sales, and people aren't able to advertise in a lot of cases. So I've been trying to uncover those businesses that are doing business, whether it's in person or online. And I've actually uncovered some pretty cool things that I'm working with. But if you know of anybody that is interested in at least having a conversation about what are you going to do, what's your plan for when you do open, you need to now is a good time for any business. If they're not open and operating, it's a great time to kind of brainstorm some ideas and that kind of thing. So there was one other thing, I can't remember what it was. Oh, we also do things, and we talked about this a little bit on one of the other calls, Gina, where we can do more like trade situations. We have a Great Deals Myrtle Beach website, which involves basically barter. So there's opportunities for any business to get promotion during this time. So.
And Leslie, are you approaching businesses with that approach? Because that's the approach I'm using. Is I know you're not spending money right now, but let's talk about what your landscape might look like in 3 months from now, because
I'm starting out to just really let businesses know that what opportunities there are for them at no cost.
Yeah.
And also trying to start the conversation that, hey, you may not be interested now, but you need to kind of have a plan, whether it involves me or not. It never hurts to have those conversations. Actually, I have a call later on today. I've been finding the most interesting businesses. I have a call this afternoon. It's a new chamber member, Cindy, Whiskey in a Week. And it's where you can buy like the little kit to make your own whiskey, which is pretty cool. Also, Wicked Inlet Seafood. I don't know if you guys are aware, but they used to sell to restaurants. And when that all kind of stopped or slowed down, they opened that up to the public. So their slogan is, dock to door in 24. So Wicked Inlet Seafood, they work kind of behind Wicked Tuna over there. You can actually call them, place an order, and they'll deliver it to your door to have fresh fish right off the boats.
That's awesome.
It's pretty
Um,
cool.
are,
Yummy.
are you finding any other businesses that, businesses specifically that are still spending money in advertising right now?
Yeah, I mean, I have a business that we just did a contract for, which is their timeshare cancellation company. Primarily what we're doing, because their reach is really outside of the state of South Carolina, we have a whole digital campaign that we're doing with targeted display ads and Facebook retargeting and YouTube pre-roll videos. So opportunities are out there. It's few and far between, and finding the people that are actually willing and able to actually advertise. But I'm trying to focus more on people that have more of an online presence, and then anybody else really having those conversations for, hey, when the time comes,
Yeah.
let's have a plan in place. And there's really no obligation for anybody to work with me. I've been giving people a lot of advice and sharing information that I'm finding, whether it's regarding the PPP loans or, the grant money that was available through the chamber. I'm trying to help in any way I can, based on everything that I see.
I think that's the approach that you have to take. That's the approach I've been taking, and I think it's working, because I'm consulting. And I had a really interesting conversation with what was that? What was that, Kathy?
Nothing. I just say on Amber, the cat butt showed up.
Oh.
Yeah, my cat decided he
Oh.
wanted to make an appearance.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have had me on mute. That was funny. I'll mute myself.
Okay,
Sorry.
Shiny things. And with my ADD, I don't even know what it was. So feedback I got from businesses that they are going to need help with how to bring their employees back, how to continue they know that some are going to continue to work from home, and what does that look like? They're more interested initially in consulting instead of training. How to, so they've got managers and leaders that don't know how to manage a work from home workforce that's going to continue. So one of the things I've been doing is just reaching out and finding out what their worlds are like, and taking a lot of notes on that so that I can come up with a new strategic plan. So anyone in kind of that consulting kind of type of line of work, or advertising, or that kind of where you have to be providing strategy and have return on investment, and typically marketing and training are the first things cut from any budget. Those that's the approach I think you have to take to just have goodwill. That's just my 2 cents.
And Cindy, I have to say the email updates that I get from the chamber every week, that's been some really great information, and it just kind of puts it all in one place. Yeah. I share where I can with anybody I think that might be able to utilize that information. So that's been very helpful. I'm trying to also help my existing clients that either are still advertising or have put things on hold right now, in whatever way possible. And getting all that information is great.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Amber, what's going on with you besides your same theater pain like me and Chris?
Well, okay, so we know where that side is, and we're trying to make sure we stay ahead of the curve. On the CPA side of what I'm doing, I'm finding that the payment, Where's My Payment program is progressing. May not be as fast as we would like, but people who a week ago would look up their payment for their stimulus information would come back showing they're not eligible, or they can't determine their eligibility. Yeah. Well, last week, a lot of those people were able to upload. They finally said, okay, you're eligible. Here, upload your bank account. And even some of those people now are getting dates of when they're going to get when they should see their stimulus deposited into their account. That's a huge deal for me and my clients, because I have zero control over a lot of this stuff, and that's not a very comfortable place to be when people trust their financial world to me, and I can tell you I got nothing. So that's very, very good news. A lot of people are also finally now, with the second set of PPP coming through, I'm already starting to see people who received, I had a client today who received her PPP loan and her unemployment. So all today. So finally, now clearly we're not done. I mean, there's still a whole lot more that needs to be done, but we have these agencies that were never set up to do what they're trying to do now. They're finally figuring it out and working through the mass numbers of people. On the South Carolina, the DEW unemployment website, now apparently that link is up to where independent contractors can apply for unemployment. That was supposed to be up 2.5 weeks ago. And I've got independent contractors now who are actually able to go in and actually file and do that now, where they couldn't before. That's all very good news. From the actual tax side, other than it's taking 3 times as long to do anything, we're doing everything virtually. Those of you who know me well know that I am immunocompromised. So my husband put a kibosh on people coming into the office and sitting across the table from me, because if I get sick, nobody gets paid, So I've got to make sure that I'm able to work and do what I need to do. But that means that everything that we're doing is taking easily 3 times as long as it used to, because you're having to set up meetings where before people would come and sit with me, ask questions, and then I could call them and then ask questions when they come to pick it up. We can't do any of that now. So it's been a challenge. We are about a month behind. So I'm working on tax returns now that I got at the end of March. And that's because everything is taking so long. And that's with us diligently working. We have decided, since the new due date is July 15th. At this point in any other year, I would be finishing up my 2-week vacation after tax season, because we are so tired we can't form sentences. Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't been able to do that, so we've decided that if this is going to be extended out to July, we're taking our weekends now. So I got to spend some time with my kids this weekend. Now my kids are grown, but still it's important for us to have time and rest and
self-care.
Yeah, I mean, it's super important, but we're still putting in 10 to 12 hour days every day, during the week. But so yeah, it's my challenge is trying to get my clients their information as quickly as possible without me personally having a heart attack or a breakdown. So, I know that sounds a little dramatic, but when you've got 50 people emailing you, texting you, calling you, faxing you, and they all need their information right now, because to them in that moment, it's life or death. When we know we know it's really not, but I can't.
But especially for SBA stuff in particular, because I know I got on top of my bookkeeper. I'm like, I need this stuff now.
Yeah.
You're trying to get all your stuff in and get ahead of the queue, and you need all your documents
and you need all your stuff. So, and I completely get it. And that's the heartbreaking part is, I don't believe I have anybody that hasn't received what they've been needing or asking for. As far as the SBA stuff, if you've asked me for something, I'm like 99.99% positive everybody's got what they've asked for. And that means that the people who are waiting on their tax returns are going to wait another week. So there is only so much time in the day.
Yeah.
And when I've been working for 12 hours, you don't want me figuring out what your refund's going to be, because I might miss something. At that point, things start glazing over. So I sent out a Facebook shout out to all my clients last week who were understanding and appreciative of the time and what the challenges for tax preparers and financial folks. They've got the doctors and the nurses helping with the medical, and the rest of it, those of us in the financial and tax world are trying to help you with the financial side. And we're certainly not as important as somebody saving your lives, but we just appreciate the patience of understanding that we're working as hard as we can. We're trying to help as well.
Well, you're also saving financially. Like I'm gonna continue to preach that
Yeah.
This is not just about physical health. This is about the health of businesses, and we can all continue to be alive and live, but not for long without income.
If we can't eat, and ultimately at the end of the day, there's got to be something left to come back to.
Right.
That's vitally important. If there's nothing left for any of us to come back to, then what are we doing? The one thing that I'm hoping, and I don't want this to sound, I don't know,
just be
ugly
you.
or anything.
Just be you.
Ugly or anything. But if there's ever been a reason to make sure that you are living beneath your means and you are saving money and putting money aside, this is it. Because there is no way in the world anybody would have ever thought anything like this would happen. And those clients of mine that do have a little bit of an emergency fund or have a little cushion somewhere, while they're not happy, they're still paying their bills. So it's just important to kind of look at the whole thing. We are going to get on the other side of this. We're getting closer each day, but we have to make sure there's something there to get on the other side of. So.
Well, thank you for all that you're doing. I do have a question. I don't know if you have any insight on this. And the one thing that I've come to see with everything that is related to the government is that there's really no consistency.
Yeah.
I know that you said the PUA has become available to independent contractors, but not to all. So when I went back in, that link didn't exist for me. Now I saw other people take pictures and post the link, and I'm like,
it's not an option for you?
There was not an option. And so what I ultimately had to do, and I think I read this somewhere, and I did it before I read it, I filed a second claim.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I filed the second claim, eventually I got to a PUA question page.
But when did you do that? A while ago?
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had no option, and I was helping someone else with theirs too, which that was a mistake because I accidentally uploaded my information into his portal, and that's a disaster. And now I'm trying to find someone to talk to. Good luck with that. And so it's a little bit of a disaster, but that there's not a whole lot of consistency. So I don't even know if I did the right thing by filing a second claim, but it did not give an option. Now it shows my PUA is pending.
Then you probably did the right thing. That's kind of goes back to what I was saying a minute ago, where they're trying to do things that they were never intended to do. They were never set up to do. The DEW here can't make a move unless the the Board of Labor gives them the okay and the ways in which to do it, the instructions on how to move forward. Basically, they can't make a move unless they have that, which to me is one of the first problems. Like, somebody needs to be able to make a decision somewhere. So,
yeah.
But it looks like over time they're finally getting there. So for your sake, hopefully that made a difference. I know it may be, and I don't know this. Again, I wish I had better answers. I wish I had clear-cut answers for you. But people who are the business owners filing for unemployment, that's a little harder to get, but not impossible, because I have business owners, the one I just mentioned today, who did. She got the PPP and she got her unemployment. So hopefully what you did will allow you to do that. For the independent contractors who are not the owners of the business, hopefully that's working a little more smoothly for them. But that's probably why you weren't able to do it in the first place, is because probably you were set up as exempt from self-employment tax for South Carolina. because you were the owner of the business. And so that's what we all did, because again, whoever thought anything like this would happen? Normally what would happen is if you weren't exempt.
Well, no, I was paying self-employment tax into South
Not
Carolina.
self-employment tax, exempt from unemployment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So for that, then you wouldn't have necessarily, that meant that if you hadn't have been exempt, that would have meant you would have been paying or unemployment tax for yourself that you would never have been able to take a claim against.
Right.
So we don't have our business owners do that. But now, because of all this, they've changed that. And so that trying to fix that, I'm pretty sure that's probably why your issue is why you're having such an issue, is because you probably were not set up to pay.
Well, and again, there's no rhyme or reason, because I know another business owner who, same thing, PUA link did not show up on their portal. I told her, file a second claim. She filed a second claim. And the next day, money showed up in her account on Saturday. I mean, there's just no rhyme or reason. And I was like, I'm helping other people and I can't seem to help myself.
No, it's very frustrating. And so we'll see, that's kind of where I'm coming from, is there's so many things that I want to do to help, but I have zero control to do any of it, you know, and they keep changing the rules on us. I mean, what they told us originally when the information came out was one thing, and then a week and a half later is very, very different. Very, like the $10,000 grant. Now we find it's $1,000 per employee. Well, if you're sole proprietor and you didn't apply with an employee, well, then you're not going to get anything, or you're going to get $1,000. That's not what they said it was.
Or you're going to get $3,000 and you have no idea why.
Yeah. Yeah.
I seriously, like, I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what that is.
I read somewhere where someone actually received, one of their kids received, or grown kids, like 26 years old or whatever, but received the $1,200 stimulus twice, because they put money into, like they split their refund and put half the refund in a checking account and half the refund in a savings account. So they got a $1,200 stimulus in each one. Meanwhile, other people still haven't received any of it. So I don't know how they're going to come back and take back the extra 12. I don't know if they're even, because there's apparently no clawback provision to pull back money that you weren't really entitled to. So who knows? Who knows?
Hot mess. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Kathy, what's going on with you?
There we go. Hi. All right. I'm psych. Oh gosh. What isn't going on? First of all, Sherry Glensky, you and Terry need to check out a magazine. It's called PrinceWilliamLiving.com. It's PrinceWilliamLiving.com. I know the publisher personally. She is a longtime friend of mine. It is a small local magazine, and she is brilliant, hyper local for Prince William County, Virginia, and she puts all kinds of stuff up. You guys have to really check it out. If you need an introduction, I'll be glad to give it to you. All right. So that's my PSA in the comment, because I was writing notes. ImageWorks for me. For the online photography class that I said that I was putting together and done, I started it on Saturday and I had 2 students. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it went well. It'll go for the next 3 weeks, every Saturday, and I'm excited. I just now have to create a video in order to create 2 of the real creative projects that they'll be doing for the end of the very end. I have instructions how to do it, but I want to do the video for it. So the other thing is just trying to get out of my own way when it comes to doing videos and samples, or samples of videos. I have my light, and I have my holder for holding my cell phone to be able to do all of that type of stuff. I just have to get out of my own way.
Just do it.
I know.
I mean, you're here. I mean, you're here on
Uh,
camera.
yeah, I know. I need a haircut bad.
Let it go. Everybody does. Everybody does. Who cares? Everybody, yeah, especially Chris.
I
Yeah,
know.
just get.
I'm. You know, the fact that I'm on camera now more than I ever was, and I'm actually hearing myself talking. I'm getting more and more comfortable with it. Which is,
That's just it. The more you do it, the more you become comfortable with it. The more you don't think twice about it. You just have to do it. And
right.
you get some fancy schmancy lighting, like my fancy schmancy lighting that
I know. I saw that. I saw it. I loved it. It's
illuminates your
great.
face. If you want, I'll send you the
Right.
link for it.
Yeah.
It's a portable ring light that sits on my desk.
Yeah. I have this is for my cell phone,
Yeah.
and it attaches to my my clips here to my desk, and I'm able to do whatever I need to do with it, and it does work, which is great. The with the CPA, which is very interesting. I'm listening to any of that type of stuff, and I kind of looked at the do, and because I'm self-employed, there we have our questions when it comes to like how we've gotten paid. When it originally came out, I spoke to my accountant, and we just didn't qualify for the original, which is, kind of goes, well, are we, or am I eligible to do the self-employed unemployment now? I don't know. Still waiting for our accountant to get us our taxes. She's up in Virginia. We've been working with her for eons, and she does a lot of South Carolina taxes as well for people that everybody that was up in Virginia moved down here, so she continued to do them. And they got delayed. And why they ended up getting delayed is that where all of the states delayed their income taxes, Virginia didn't. They wanted it on time. So they, everybody that was out of state basically got pushed. But she asked for a whole bunch of information from us the other day, so we're able to do all of that type of. So we got all of the information to her, and hopefully that's all being taken care of. But the one thing that I think, when we were talking about it, and the gallery that I'm a part of, which is the Seacoast Artist Gallery, and the chamber actually asked me to do a PSA ad saying, hey, we're open and all of that stuff. And I was like, I'd be glad to do that because I show my artwork in there. I'm on the board for the guild, and I over the course of the weeks, I kept getting pushback from the gallery director and the board for the guild going, oh, we can't do this, and oh, woe is me, oh, woe is me. And I'm going, no, if we're going to be alive, if the gallery is going to still be around, we've got to start doing something different and start getting things out virtually. So I went over, met the president of the guild, did the ad. It was me. I said, Kathy Strauss, Seacoast Artist Gallery, and we did the walkthrough with John. So thank you very much, Cindy. I mean, I know him personally anyways, but it was fun. And we made it look like the gallery was open. And I got the pushback going, oh, we're not going to be open until June 1st. And I'm going, well, that's fine. That's what we'll say. I even changed the signage on the front that said closed until further notice, which is so negative. And I said, we'll be looking to reopen on June 1st. In the meantime, check us out on our website and our Facebook page, which is much more. That's my marketing hat on. So, Josh, I get all of that type of stuff. And then, of all things, the other day, they one of the board members sent an email that said, let me see if I can find the exact email or the exact thing that they had put on there. It was the South Carolina Arts Commission has put out, is doing emergency relief grants. And this is there's going to be some loopholes and things that we have to jump through. But with the guild, we, technically we qualify. The guild was planning on doing some teacher workday training for the visual arts teachers, and like we give out two $1,000 scholarships every year to 2 high school students that are graduating and going to be majoring in the visual arts. There were some things that and it was the most chatter I have ever seen from the board since this period started with the shutdown. And like there was like, oh, we don't qualify because it's only low income counties, and and I'm going, no, it doesn't hurt to apply. Going back to what you said, Gene, it doesn't hurt to apply. There was a thing that we had to do, which was a questionnaire. So the gal that is in charge of all of the grant writing, she's going to fill out the questionnaire. She said, I need all of the financials.
Thanks, Cindy.
But it was like she's just going to do all of the things that need to be done, and I'm going, enough is enough. How about if, and actually it was Dennis ran over. I got face masks from him.
Hey Kathy, do you mind if
I can't hear you. In and out. We're recording and it's silent and everything okay? Your name is flashing.
Gina, you broke the internet.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but you're far away.
Okay.
No, we can hear you, but.
So Kathy, I was just going to interrupt you for a second because we're at 1 o'clock.
Oh.
And I wanted to give a couple more people a chance to talk.
That's fine.
That's okay. So that's really I was trying to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that Josh, Elena, and Allison got to say something. Could you, Kathy, send me that information from South Carolina Arts so that we?
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
That would be great. Sorry about that. Don't mean to be pushy. I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak. So I'm going to jump over to Josh. And sorry, you guys are at the end. So Josh, welcome to the group. Give us a little bit about what's going on with you.
All right. Thank you all. I know probably about half of you. I'm Josh Gertzog. I'm the owner of a small company here called Grand Strand Answers. I'm a marketing company, and I focus on a very broad-based approach to marketing and advertising for the customers that I work with. I have a long background in radio, but I've also done print. I've done some video work. I've done both business to consumer and business to business types of advertising. So I've done a whole lot of different things in my career. And so when I start talking to a small business, I try to come in without any preconceived notions of either A, the kind of media they should be using, or B, the kind of message they should be sending out. And so I do a lot of talking to people and trying to help them out, coming up with ideas. And I basically, because of time and because of some other things, I just really want to cover 2 things today. First of all, to me, with everything everybody has been saying, is you can either look at this whole situation as the glass half empty, or you can look at it as the glass half full. And then it's up to you what you do with it. A wise mentor of mine once said, 10% of life is what happens to you, 90% is how you react to it. And so that's where we are right now. We're in a situation where we need to react as opposed to, and be proactive as opposed to looking at the negatives that we're in. It's ironic in that I've lived in Myrtle Beach now for 5 years. Many of us are transplants. But one thing is, we forget a lot of times just how big the hospitality industry is to this community. But imagine if we had no hospitality to speak of. We did not have tourism in this marketplace. My question then becomes, how do we react? Because in many ways, that's where we are right now. We are in a situation where we're relying on locals. We're relying on the people who live here. And I'm going to talk about that here again in a second. But to me, when you're thinking about what you should be doing now, it's remembering that you've got a huge market of, you know, maybe 300 to 350,000 people on the Grand Strand in all who are going to be influenced by what your messages are. And to me, you know, if your business is closed, and that's just the way it is because of the nature of what we're dealing with, you know, so be it. Then your plans do go for the future. But if your business is open right now, your goal should be, what can I do to make it better? What can I do to make it better every day that I'm open? So that's the first thing I want to say. And so to me, anybody's business that is open, it's more important now than ever to consider your marketing. Because when business is good, you can get away without marketing and still do extremely well. But when business is tough and tight, that's when marketing's critical. So that's number one. The second one's a little bit more difficult. And I mentioned a minute ago that we're in a hospitality and tourism environment. And a lot of people are saying, well, we have to do what we have to do until we get back to normal, or we get back to the way things were. Well, I think it's safe to say that there are going to be many things that never get back to the way they were for a variety of reasons. One, because social distancing is going to become an issue, is going to be an issue for at least the next year, if not longer. And we all have to recognize that. We might not want it to be there, but we have to take that into account when we're thinking. A lot of people have said here, well, we have to think outside the box. I couldn't agree more. But to me, you got to be way outside the box. You have to be thinking about, how is your business going to be operating down the road if it's still in business? And what are you going to be doing that's completely different than you've ever done before? Not just as a bridge necessarily to get back to where it was, but to think about how it's going to change completely. And I'll give you one example because it's the one that's pretty obvious to me, and that's media. I'll give you an example, and I'd be interested to see if anybody can get this. If you go back 30 years, go to a local market, the number one advertising business, number one advertising revenue in the marketplace was the newspaper. What was number two? Anybody want to take a guess?
Radio.
Nope.
Phone book.
Sorry?
The phone book.
There you go. Good job. That's the one that people forget. People say television, direct mail, all kinds of other things. But the phone book was the number two source of revenue for advertising in a local market 30 years ago. And today, they're just a vestige of what they were. Newspaper, right behind them. Look where the Sun News moved to. They took out space, basically, in a bank building. Who would ever thought a major newspaper would have to do something like that? But that's what happens. That's what changes occur. Yet both of those businesses are still alive. Why? Because they saw what was coming, and to the best of their ability, they completely changed their model. So Mike.
Lost him.
Each of you is, are you back? Okay, sorry about that. My question to each of you is, what are you going to be doing dramatically different, not for the next few months, but when we look at your business in 2 years, it doesn't look anything like what it did before this? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Allison, is there anything you want to ask, share, or contribute?
No, I'm good today. I was eating my lunch, so I didn't want y'all to have to watch me eat lunch. And Dad's been in and out of here too. But thank you for doing this, and but I don't need to share and extend the. I don't have any questions, so thank you.
Do you have any words of advice as a financial planner for anybody out there worried about their plummeting finances?
Well, I know one thing that Dad has told me, and he's seen a lot of things over many years. Whenever there's adversity, and whenever there's change, there's opportunity. And I think this is, and Gina, you just really embrace that because you're always looking. I mean, this Zoom meeting is part of it. It's like, how am I going to save and change and find the new way of doing business? And that's what we're all working at right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And if you need any financial planning, look up Allison.
Thank you. Thank you, Gina.
And continue to not look at your accounts.
Exactly.
Do not do that. Elena, saving the best for last.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm like Allison, I'm not invisible, but I was eating breakfast and drinking my coffee, so I didn't really want to get on camera that much. Real no questions. I enjoyed listening to everybody. A lot of good talk. And I'm with you with there's no rhyme or reason, and things are kind of funny every now and then if you can see the humor of it. So here's my little piece of humor for this week. I heard, like, when I'm here thinking of how am I going to pay for my health insurance this month, you know, like essential things or my car note. I heard from some people I work with, I guess the ones that know me know I do photo shoots with a lot of exotic cars, especially Aston Martin, Ferrari, things like that. And I heard from a friend in California that's like, you know, as soon as y'all reopen up there in Washington State and you can do a photo shoot, I need to send you a car because we need to do a photo shoot up in the snow. You need to take it up to the North Cascades because I've done that before, taken Aston Martin up to the North Cascades and shoot on ice and do things like that. So the funny thing is, like, I'm here wondering, how am I going to find, you know, the few $100s to pay for health insurance? But next month I have an Aston Martin coming to me for like 3 days to drive around. So that's usually the fun of my life, when we need to see the humor here. So I'll leave you with something funny, and good talk, everybody. Thank you for the ideas.
Thank you, Elena. We're always so thrilled that you dial in from the West Coast and get up early to be with us. Appreciate that. Again, I try to keep this at an hour. I hope that everybody got something out of it. I know it takes us a while to get through everybody, but thank you for continuing to participate and add ideas and support each other. And, you know, a big part of this call every week is just to have a place to go and hang out and not be alone and have an hour to do that. Leslie, I'm going to be back in touch with you because I've got a question for you. Amber, I have a question for you. And Chris sent me over.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Can't
hear me?
I heard you say Amber, but I didn't hear anything else after that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, Chris sent me some theater protocols. So,
okay.
So I'm going to forward those over to you.
Thank you so much.
And then I have a question for you, and I'll put that in the email as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. See you back here next Monday. And I think all of you are on my email list that I send out every Monday morning. So I'll remind you guys next Monday about next week's call.
Thank you, Gina.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.